Hi, I'm Kathleen.
And I'm Sean.
And you're listening to the Dead Baby Bear podcast.
Dead Baby Bear. Long story. Nothing funny happened in the whole
All episodes
podcast.
kept
You should
me
just post
perfect.
that.
But we were
Your
were drinking.
Your synopsis.
That's
of it.
because alcohol ruins everything.
And Adam was here, so I think we were
He
like
kept on
playing.
trying,
We were playing to an audience.
Crowd
Yeah.
of Jim and Adam.
And it just didn't sound funny at all.
Well, I'm
Maybe,
glad.
but then I had to think is it because I'm higher now than I was for the other two? I was kind of high, listening to them and kind of laughing,
Yeah.
and then that one I was probably too high and picking it apart.
Yeah. When you get too high, it fucks you up.
Yeah.
It makes you just if I get too high and I go on social media, I read everything. I think I've said this before, but I read everything and I'm like, I see right through that. You are a sad, upset person.
Are we?
That is not a celebration.
Are we doing a podcast right now?
Yeah, we're doing it right now.
All right.
We're doing it.
Sorry.
We're doing one with our number one fan, and what is it? Darth Vapor himself.
Darth Vapor. I'm too
Yeah.
high right now.
It's Will Hannigan, everybody.
Did you bring your vape with you,
I
Darth?
did.
Oh,
He's got multiple vapes.
are you vaping?
I only have one vape.
I've got two
Your
jewels.
vape.
What's
Two
your-
jewels. You're rolling with one jewel?
You one jewel's
What
red.
happens
You
when
have a red jewel.
No. Oh
Oh.
God, look at that. See, that's why you have to do it.
What?
Because if one turns red,
What's the other one? Is it red too?
no, it's
Oh,
fully
look
charged.
at me, vapeless McGee over here.
Yeah.
I feel so left out. Why do you guys like to vape?
Because I like to smoke, and then this is better.
It's better. Everyone keeps saying it's better for you, but I'm
Who
like,
knows?
I
Yeah.
don't think it is because no one knows what's in them.
Yeah, but you don't even do it.
I know, I don't do it.
It'll be just like
So
this
I can be self-righteous about it.
Yeah, you can. It hurts. My body hurts still.
from
from-
vaping.
I think so.
I don't think it's helped as much as I want it to have.
Helped what?
Like in terms of my long distance running, still isn't good.
No.
No,
wasn't
still-
good before.
It
though.
hasn't. It
No.
hasn't changed. Nothing's changed.
Nothing's
Are you
changed.
supposed to be a
Still won't go
pastor?
outside.
But it still hurts to breathe and stuff, right? And live. And
So
And
it's
that's-
kind of like smoke. It's
yeah,
it-
but it doesn't
it keeps-
smell, and I
keeps
can do
the-
it inside. And
keeps the good parts of smoking.
It's
yeah.
everything that you want in a vice.
It feels like there's going to be
Yeah.
like a movie in 50 years where everybody's just free vape. It's going to be a nostalgia thing, like
Yeah.
Stranger Things 50 years from now, looking back at this time, and everybody's going to be free vaping in front of people, and they'll be like, "Remember when you could just vape around people?"
I don't think so.
We
I
didn't
think
know that it killed them
I think
too.
this is it.
I remember
You think that's it?
being-
The
Yeah, I think
evolution
This is it.
I
of
remember-
death.
We're done.
being on a date in Toronto, and some guy was vaping at the table because it was still so new that you could vape
Oh
indoors.
right, yeah.
But I was just like, who the fuck do you think you are? Like, I was just horrified.
Was
by
it heavy cloud vaping?
It was like, yeah, and it was
Because that was
like
first gen
popping
vape.
O's, like he thought, oh, she's gonna love these O's.
Imagine what else I can do with my mouth.
There's nothing harder than a woman seeing you look like you're choking on a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a turn off for girls, isn't it? Thinking about the guy that you want to have sex with sucking a dick. That's got to be that's
Not
not
all
something you
girls.
visualize.
Not
all
all girls.
girls.
Some girls like that.
Look at Sean,
Really?
just like literally
Have
like.
you masturbated to the thought of two guys getting it on?
I've watched male porn and I love it. It is. I've had because I was complaining about porn with a girlfriend. It was always girls being like, and it was always like, all you see is the girl. Like it's always,
Right.
you just look at the girl. And so my friend's like, you gotta watch male porn. She's like, is
Two
you
guys
like,
fucking each other.
like heavy bearded dude? So she goes, look up fat hairy gay porn, and I did it. And I was like, oh, this is for me. It was the hottest thing ever. And I
Okay.
didn't relax. I know you don't want to watch it, but it was
No, I mean I'm not.
It
I
was-
didn't say anything.
I saw like a little thing zip in your head when I said some girls don't mind guys sucking dicks. You were like, that can happen.
Well, I just didn't think it would be in your top 10 list of
Some-
things to think about.
I think if you ask a lot of girls, you'd be surprised because I think we are so everything that's sex that's shoved in our faces is what women look like during sex and what women do, and not if they're enjoying it, but just women being fucked. And we never get to see if you watch a heterosexual porn, it's never focused on the dude unless it's specifically directed by a woman.
Or unless the guy's black. and then he becomes like he's the lead singer in that band.
Well, I guess it's
In
because
that two-man fuck band.
whatever fetish you have is more focused. But even that kind of porn, if you watch, you're not watching the man, even if it's a black man. It's mostly focused on the woman. So then my friend was like, watch gay porn. It's like just guys fucking, and like everything like that. And I was just like, oh yeah, I understand. Like it's not like woo. Well, this is I just want to watch this live. But and I learned different things. I was like, I didn't know they could do missionary.
Oh.
And then I didn't even. Yeah. And
Oh,
then
I saw a movie.
Yeah.
And they were there's two guys having conversation while they're having sex, but it was like one was riding the other, and I still can't get it out of my head. It's crazy.
I was just
know
like,
that
that's
could
I don't
awesome.
think they should be able to do that. Like, I think that they should be able to get married. And I think that they should be able to like hold hands
But
and pride.
face-to-face sex.
That's
fuck
Christian. That's Christian. That's the Christian position.
Yeah.
That is that is like
No riding fucking?
baby. We're trying to have a baby.
It is named missionary. You think that
Right.
they want to avoid that?
Yeah. So I think that is what they shouldn't be allowed to do.
And then you know what else I never thought of? Like, and I don't know why it is. Like when they're getting doggy styled and they can jerk off at the same time, and it's just like I know I realized that afterwards. I'm like, oh, well, girls can do that too. But I'm just like, holy shit, we're so lucky that more men aren't gay because this sex looks like way better sex for dudes than guy-girl sex. That's all I'm saying.
And the funny thing is, we never we talk about like, oh, that girl might join the lesbian team because of how much better the
Yeah.
sex is.
Yeah.
We never talk about like, oh, Will, he could, like,
If he got
we
his
could lose
dicks
Will.
out
We could
more.
lose Will. Like nobody's afraid of a straight man joining the gay team because
No one wants
the
him.
fellatio was a lot better when a guy did it. Right?
I don't know. I'm pretty lost.
How can you be lost? This is fucking first base of conversation.
I'm lost.
He's thinking about sucking dicks.
I am actually. I am.
He's a
I'm
progressive
still stuck on the
millennial.
still stuck on the dick and then ass and then dick again.
It's like a dick.
Dick, ass, and dick again.
Look at this
What?
little dick he sucks on all day. Both of you.
Yeah, but I
Little
mean,
dick
there's
suckers.
nicotine in it. It's not. It's
What if
different,
someone
Kathleen.
told you that there was nicotine in cock? Would you start?
I'd go to sleep. Yeah, I'd go to bed. If I needed, I could use a cigarette or like, well, you could suck nicotine out of this dick. I'd be like, it's okay. I'll go to. Why won't I? I'm just gonna drive to Sev. You know what I mean?
I'd rather just drive to Sev than suck this throbbing dick in front of me.
Yeah. It's 7 blocks. I'll just go to Sev and get some new pods for my Juul. Why would I entertain the notion of sucking nicotine out of a penis?
You live 7 blocks from a 7-Eleven?
Yeah,
That
you
seems
got to. You should.
far. That seems far. Like, I feel like nobody lives 7 blocks from a 7-Eleven.
Somebody just closed their drapes. Imagine what they're thinking over there. Like, why are they sitting at a table with
Oh,
microphones?
they're in the kitchen doing
Are they
something.
eating
Two of 'em.
microphones for dinner?
The family.
We're at a dining room table at
Family
supper
dinner.
time.
I'm gonna have to go over and ask for
Touching
their recipe.
microphones.
Touching microphones.
It must be the weirdest thing for them because they're about to sit down to a good Christian quiche.
They
And-
probably think we're making like a terrorist video.
They might think, yeah, this is a
Well, we're glad the grandkids aren't here tonight.
What are they doing over there?
They're probably making a porn. Look at those lights.
Are they married? Is that?
She looks cute. What do you
I think
guys-
that's a man.
Why do you know it's a woman?
I think it's a man.
No, it's not. That's a late. She's wearing a pink.
See, that's what
golf
we forget
shirt.
about with trans is as they get older, it's harder to tell them apart. It really is. Think about like when we talk about trans people in their 20s and 30s, we don't focus. What about trans in their 70s, for fuck's sakes? Like that
Because
is
you
a
know what?
tough
Men
nugget.
and women
Hello,
look
ma'am. Like, ma'am. Like, I don't know. Like, you're in an old folks' home.
But a
What
lot
the
of
fuck?
times
You
couples
just do it,
start
don't s-
looking like each other because women usually cut their hair shorter when they get older because it's
They do.
easier.
They start
Yeah.
blending.
So you both start looking the same. So that's actually a very good point. It's like when you're trans and you're in your 20s, it's
Right.
very easy. I'm not saying it's easy trans, but you're younger and you could change gender.
I know what you're
easier.
trying to do. I can see what you're. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've executed it, but I can tell what you've made an
Yeah.
attempt to look like. So I can be like, hello, and it's easy to do the surname.
Yeah,
like
you
the,
won't misgender them.
But yes, but once they get to that age, like their makeup kit
All,
gets lost.
all seniors could be trans.
Their makeup.
And
kit-
no
all
one-
seniors could be trans,
No
and
one
it
would
was
care.
sexually wouldn't matter.
No, or
and
notice.
that's what you get for living as long as you do. You get the bonus of being whatever gender you fucking want.
Or, your I mean, you can't control any of your fluids at that point, especially gender. You got gender fluids coming out of the back of your ass all day. You got a fucking nanny trying to clean you up.
You may experience gender fluid loss on this medication.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, your bladder is fucking, whoops, I'm at a soccer game and Nana just filled her diaper with some rock solid gender fluid. Nana, what do you mean, Opa? You know, like it's going to be weird to see old Ukrainians fighting over, gender rights.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Nana, who fucking called me Nana? I'm Opa. You look like a Nana, Opa.
Oh
How
my God.
dare you?
Oh my God.
Children.
Do you have to have conversations with your children about that?
Why? Let the internet teach.
they're-
Let Uncle Internet do it.
Like you've never been at like when I was a kid, my mom says I embarrassed her at the Bay because we were at the cafe and I was like pointing at this man with an eye patch and I kept on going, "What's wrong with him? What's wrong with him?" Like, because kids are dumb.
Yeah, well,
You
kids
sound
yeah.
worried for him. If
I
anything.
don't know what I was. She just was so. She's like, "You embarrassed the shit out of me." It stuck with her since I was 3 years old. But no,
Yo,
but
'cause
like
that does happen with children because like you are just shh, like,
Yeah.
you're not explaining enough, right? You're just like it's rude to do that. What is wrong with him? And you're like, don't worry about it.
Can't you just
Yeah.
tell them that their eye's weird?
yeah, their eyes weird. They're weird.
Yeah, your
eyes.
mom
Or-
could have told you like, yeah, he lost his eye or whatever.
Yeah,
but
she
but in
could've
the
shut it
moment,
down easy.
but in the heat of
Yeah.
the moment, like it's already happening.
Yeah.
Your kid is already saying, "Mommy, what's wrong with that man's eye?"
What's the
and
most
it-
embarrassing moment with your kids? Like that they like didn't mean to embarrass you, but you were just like, Jesus.
Well, the one thing that happens all the time is when you're out with them and you meet somebody and you don't know their name, but they know you. So you're like, "Oh, hi," and they're like, "Hey, Sean, how's it going?" Like, pretty good." And this is my son, Jack. And then your kids are like, "What's your friend's name, Dad?" And you're like, "You little fucking piece of shit. Like, you could not have buried me deeper than that. Like, what's your friend's name, Dad?" Because now, like, I have to know the fucking name.
Because you're a friend.
Yeah. Like, some people will come in and be like, "And you are?" And then, like, try
Yeah.
to shake. And "Hi, I'm Daryl," or what. And then you're like, "Yeah, fucking Daryl. Yes."
Yeah.
But your kid doesn't know that social cue to ask the person what their name is. So they ask you. They only know you. "Daddy, what's your friend's name?" Like, I don't fucking
You should
No.
train them then, as your children, to anytime someone says, "What's," when they get introduced, if someone says, "This is Jack," and they say, "Hi, and what's your name?" Just train them that way. Isn't that how it works?
I guess, but
Train your kids to do your bidding.
my kids kind of know not to tell people that I'm a comedian or whatever.
You could.
So they
what,
kinda know that.
what I always do is I always like go, "Oh, hey, how are you?" And then I go, "Have you met?" And then I introduce a friend
Yeah.
to them, and then I'm like, then they say their name,
Yeah.
and then the other person that I don't know says their name, and then I forget it right
Yeah.
after again.
Yeah, but the kids do it stupider. So like you're like, "Oh, this is my son. Hi, I'm Jack." And like they're in a different planet. So
Yeah.
the adult doesn't think to be like, "And I'm Daryl." Like because of the way your kid expresses his name, the adult doesn't feel comfortable saying it because it's such a weird energy to jump into. "I'm Sam." Like, "I'm Bill." Like, "Yeah, his name's Bill. I forgot." And why did he fucking do it like a child?
I've seen people say, "Hi, Sam. I'm Kathleen."
Right, but only women do that.
Guys just
Because
stare at the
women can
kid.
jump into that energy and it's maternal. Right? So you can be
Yeah.
like, "I'm Billy," and then "I'm Samantha," right? And it's like a very girl thing to do, and it's then
Just because
women like
your woman voice is the same as a child's voice doesn't mean that children and women have the same fucking mind.
well, they have a connection, right? There's a maternal instinct.
They can get there.
And women aren't going to judge a girl. Why did she fucking talk like a kid? Like, she's going to be like, "Oh, that's so cool. She loves children and she's good with children," I imagine even women who hate children find themselves like saying things like that because they have to pretend that they fucking care about children
Yeah.
or like
Yeah,
children.
guys probably look pretty creepy.
They would, "Hi." Yeah, they look, yeah, that's predator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just
to match a child's energy is predatory.
Well, isn't there like a game show host that would be like really gross with young women on air? Didn't he kiss them on the mouth a couple times or something? It's a Canadian. It's like it was like it was a Family Feud style host. Hi,
Yeah.
Jennifer. My name is Bill. Like on television.
Yeah,
Really?
I guess some guys. I mean, you wouldn't. That must have been an old game show. Was it? recent?
that's the CBC though. They let that stuff go.
The
They
best
don't
thing
even
that's
have
happened
game
after
shows.
all of this, like, don't touch me movement is no one comes up and starts rubbing your shoulders. That is
Right.
the creepiest thing. Unless it's like your partner and you're like, I'm going to give you a massage. I'm like, that's fuck yeah, you are finally, Jesus. But like if a strange man comes up to you and starts rubbing your shoulders, it is the creep. I've never tensed up more in my life.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess the sort of "don't touch me" movement has been good for that reason. Like a million
Yeah.
guys went, I thought they liked that.
Oh my God. If
Like
you
a
still
million
think
creeps
like
were
that,
like, I thought girls liked that.
oh
And
my
then they're
God.
like, so then they watch a
Just
bunch of
staring at
videos
their
where
own
girls are like,
hands.
you know what the worst is when men you don't even know touch your fucking shoulder, and then they're like, wait a minute, that was my move.
My
Like,
dad told me ladies loved that.
Ah, well. But I mean, if a guy who you were sexually attracted to did that, you might be okay with it, right? But you're not like.
But you don't know who it is, right?
You don't know who it is.
So
You
if
have-
someone's rubbing you, you have to
you're like, oh
hope,
boy.
hopefully it's
And it's
Jonathan.
never the guy you want to have sex with, right?
And it's
know.
never a guy that comes from the front, waves, that goes around back and sorry. It's always a sneak attack. It's always like all of a sudden you just have hands on your shoulder.
That's really creepy because it's right by your neck too, so that could change like really
Yeah.
quickly.
It is one of the most. If there is a man listening or watching to this right now, and you still do this, fucking
Look,
stop doing
Stop it.
it. Stop it.
Stop it.
Stop
Hashtag
giving out
Stop it. I don't know.
throat massage.
Stop
Yeah.
giving out a throat massage. It's rude. It's rude. It's rude.
But women do have nice necks. I do like their necks.
Yeah. It's hard not to touch them.
I'm not saying that's not where I was going. I just said I
You
like
just
their
like
necks.
looking at them?
I like seeing their necks. And if I don't
like
know, I
seeing
can't.
their necks.
You can't grab them anymore. So I like
You
seeing
can
them.
never grab them.
We're not allowed now.
What
apparently.
did you get up to this weekend, Kathleen?
What
Did
did
you
I-
do anything? Did you have
Oh
any
my God.
comedy?
No, thank God. I did better stuff. I had my friend plays in a band called Chicks Dig It, and it's like a
Okay.
punk band and
All
so-
one word?
Yes.
Yes.
One with lots of X's and C's and
Mhm.
D's. But he played this show in Edmonton with like Bad Religion and Less Than Jake and NoFX, and I got
Cool.
to go and like I got to go backstage, which I'm just gonna tell you, it's not even the thing about seeing the people actually. It's just like I don't have to be squished up against a bunch of fucking people.
Yeah.
I love it so much more than I would go to music festivals all the time if I could just go backstage at all of them.
Did you get to like hang out with the other bands and stuff?
We met a couple of them, and I would never run up to Fat Mike from NoFX and be like, I love you, Fat Mike. But I did look at him like this and smile because I'm very awkward.
Mike. Is he still fat?
No, he's not even that fat.
No?
He's not by today's standards, but you guys like NoFX? You know NoFX?
I don't.
Oh,
When I
sadness.
was younger, like
Sadness,
some of
yes.
my friends who did acid liked them. or
yeah,
whatever.
like it's an acid. But the first genre of music that I got into was California.
Was it
pop
like
punk.
"Don't Call Me White" and
Yeah.
that kind of? Don't call me white.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right.
They're-
Yeah,
it
I was okay.
Are
with
they
that.
like
It's
Sublime?
fine. No, they would have been Sublime era. Like
They
not,
look all.
they're not in
they,
Sublime.
would
Yeah.
they look
Yeah.
like Sublime though?
I don't know if they look like they're all white.
Okay.
They're all white men.
Sorry, I should just Google it.
They're all
myself.
white males.
I heard that Sublime is playing with Rome at a casino, and I just realized how old I am. Like when your bands that you thought were like cool and edgy, oh my God, they're singing about riots and heroin, and now they're playing at a casino, and you're just like, oh God. Well, my life's over.
Yeah, I mean, when Kurt Cobain said like "better to burn out than fade away,"
He was
he
right.
was right.
He was
Like,
right.
he
He'd
shouldn't
be
have
playing
died.
casinos right now.
Yeah, it'd be like Kurt Cobain and Nirvana, the Century Casino. Hello, hello, hello. You'd be like, "Fuck, seriously, Nirvana? What the fuck, dude?"
Yeah, Dave Grohl would not be as happy as he
Foo
is
Fighters would
now.
have never existed.
Do you think Dave Grohl's happy that Kurt Cobain killed himself? Because his career is pretty sweet.
I think I don't know. It depends how much he likes singing. You know,
He
if he
always,
doesn't like singing, then
he
he'd
always
be
wanted
like,
to sing when he was back there drumming. He was the drummer, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
He always was just like, I just want give me a microphone for 2 minutes.
he was singing. They just
Let
didn't
me
give him a
sing
microphone.
Heart-shaped box. Let me sing heart-shaped box. I
let
want to
me
belt
sing
out all
heart-shaped box.
apologies.
Let me sing heart-shaped box. It's my turn to sing heart-shaped box, Kurt. Dave, sit down and play the fucking drums, idiot. No, they
Oh my
might. I
God.
mean, they were too rich. Like, they would never have had to do Century Casino. But,
no, but they'd be like, Elton John's gonna be here at the end of September doing his farewell Yellow Brick Road, and I'm like, how old is he? Like, is he going to be
it's
able to
crazy.
move around?
Yeah, like he's in his 80s or something.
I remember I saw the Who in Vancouver, and it was like, look at these old dudes go. And Rolling Stones were just in Toronto, and my friend said that was a great show. So
I can't fucking believe they're alive.
But that's
Yeah,
like
that's the other
there's
thing.
like a phenomenon where like there's like farmers who will work until they're like 80, and then a month later, once they retire, they die.
because they stop
Yeah.
moving.
They die.
Because
Yeah.
they're so active their entire
Mick
life.
Jagger can't stop moving.
That's why I'm gonna live
Or it's
forever.
all over. Yeah.
I can't start moving, so I'm gonna live forever, maybe.
Well,
I don't know.
like for most of those farmers, it's just like they operate until they know they can't anymore, and then that's why they die. Like they just work. They've
can
worked
feel death
themselves. They can
coming?
feel death coming.
Really?
Do you think so?
Yeah, because they're like, how come I can't turn over the fucking key in the combine? And then they
They're
get a younger
so-
person like, this
Death.
fucking key is fucked. And then a younger person comes over and they're like, oh my god,
And then they
I have
just-
lost the ability
they
to
get out of
turn
the-
over my truck.
They get out of the combine and just walk into the field.
Yeah, they're like, I think I'm gonna retire. Like they don't want to think they're dying, but they know they're dying. You know,
Oof.
they can just tell
Well,
by how
animals
hard.
good for
can
them.
sense that they're gonna die. I feel.
Animals know, and
Animals
then
know.
animals can smell. Like when I was at
Death?
they can smell, and they know when something is dying. This patient was talking to me about his horse was like was trying to get up but couldn't. It got hit in the head like a couple months earlier, and they just let it live, and and it was dying in this field, and they could hear coyotes, and that's what made them go out and see that the horse had fallen. So like the coyotes knew that this horse was
Dinner
dying, but they
time!
couldn't.
The
Yeah.
death dinner
They-
bell was ringing.
He must be like emitting like a.
There's scents. Animals can smell way more than we can. It's like it's just. I'm sure we emit.
It
a
must be
death
so
sense.
frustrating for them not to be able to talk, like just to be like,
Yeah.
oh, this is about to happen.
That's when my dog is barking at me. He's just saying, "You stupid fucking gun! I'm trying to
Especially-
tell you, there's a tornado coming."
There's other people that live in our apartment building.
Especially like we act like they're dumb. Like orcas have more languages than we do. You know, like they have. You know,
Like
they have
what?
different.
Orcanese?
Orcanese, you fucking moron. Pacific Ocean Mandarin. That they have like hundreds of languages and cultures and shit, and we're just like, look at these dumb fucking. Let's throw them in the box. Here, can you lift Jimmy up? Basically, like there's one rule for animals. Like if I could communicate with animals for like a second, I would just say, never do tricks for us. Never
The
fucking.
first one of you that does it, you're fucked, all of you.
Yeah, like there was the first time a guy went like this, get out of here, you fucking orca, get out of here. Like,
Flipped.
and then it flipped. They were like, wow, like we're going to get rich.
Follow that orca.
I was trying to get the orca to leave and it flipped. It thought I made a roll movement and it rolled over. So why don't we capture hundreds of these things and have them do
God.
shows for children?
But if you're that,
And then they did. That's what they did.
That's
So
Keep
yeah,
them in-
every
in
animal.
orca
If you're out
kennels.
there, animals, and you're listening to this and you can speak English, don't be tasty. That's number one. Stop being delicious.
Run.
And number two, run. Yeah, always be biting us and stuff.
Don't trust us.
Never do a
Yes.
trick.
yeah.
That was fucking because I hadn't seen that Blackfish Orca documentary until like recently.
Is that what happened? A guy just went like that, or you
I
made
don't
that
know.
up?
I'm making a history of orcas up, but I think that's what happened. Is somebody was on a boat and an orca kept ramming it, and they were like, "Get out of here, you fucking!" And then it went, and they were like, "Whoa!" Or like maybe a person fell off a boat and they're like, "The killer whales are gonna get him," and then they shot out of the water with it
saved
on
him.
the tip of their nose and they dove in. You know, just like they do at SeaWorld. Maybe that was our first encounter with killer whales.
That sounds fun.
Do you know what else is happening in the ocean?
What?
Garbage.
Live action Ariel, the mermaid, is a black lady. And people are up in arms over it. White
Huh.
people mostly.
Ooh.
Well, they're doing like a live
Jim?
Well, if they were up in
action-
arms, they'd be black people.
What?
Because black women always have their arms up.
Oh my god. Stop it.
White people probably, yeah. Well, here's the thing. I don't even. Is anybody saying that's like just
People on Twitter.
100 dummies on Twitter?
Yeah, but you know that like I just read that and I was like, oh, that'll be fun. And then you see all these people like, not my Ariel. I'm like, who's your Ariel?
Who
then?
the fuck
and then
are these
people were
people?
saying, like,
I think they're Russian bots, to be honest. Like, because no human.
no,
on,
and you know what they usually are? You know what was one of the tweets that I read from was like a middle-aged white woman that was a Democrat that was like all about fuck Trump in her bio. But then she said something stupid like, if we did a biopic about Oprah and cast it as a white woman, we would get in trouble. And then someone said, Oprah is a real person. Mermaids aren't real. Like, just because they drew her as white in the cartoon and they cast her as a black girl in the other one, who fucking cares? Like, people are ridiculous.
But I still think, like, before we say, like, people are up in arms about it, we should be forced to, like, knock on doors until you find somebody who's mad about it.
Yeah.
And if it takes you more than 100, then you have to stop saying people are up in arms about it.
Yeah.
Like, if I went and knocked on all these doors in this building and say, hey, do you have a problem with, like, a black Ariel? I bet they would all be like, no.
Do you think that Twitter has their own bots just to start conversations to get people on Twitter? Like, do you think that there's people at Twitter that have a fake account that they give a bunch of followers and then they're just like, oh, not my Ariel, just to get something going?
I think a lot of them would be people who just like to see liberals upset.
Yeah.
Right. That's their whole MO. They don't have their only agenda is to go online and watch liberals
lose their
scream.
minds. Yeah.
So they'll go online and be like, not my Ariel, and then hope that it takes off and a bunch of people are like, can you fucking believe this shit? Like, and then they're laughing, you know.
Oh,
like,
yeah, like trolls.
Just straight
trolls.
up
Those
trolling liberals, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, so I think that's like I don't think it's even like, I guess maybe there's people that don't like a black Ariel. You'd have to be like crazy racist.
Yeah, like
I wonder how many they can't swim jokes have been made.
a lot, actually. If you look on
Probably.
Twitter, oh my God, there were some terrible jokes out
Black
there.
people, that's a
That is a stereotype that black people can't swim.
really? That's insane, because they'd be better at it than us if they did it for a while.
They're doing us a favor by not
a
swimming.
yeah,
it's
like
racial.
Michael, you think Mike...
They weren't allowed. Yeah, they weren't
Right.
allowed. Good
Like-
point, Jim, producer. He says they weren't allowed in a lot of pools. So
Oh.
yeah, of course, white people are like,
Some white people
you
saw
can't do
that.
something we won't let you do. Ha
When,
ha.
like, to me, whenever like there's a white person excelling in sports, I'm like, wait till black people get it. Like Michael Phelps, he's fucking unbelievable, and I'm like, wait till black people get in the pool,
Yeah.
and then let's watch those numbers fucking go down the shithole. Like, anytime a white person is like the dominant figure in a sport, I'm like, give it 100 years, pal. Your reign will come to a fucking real quick
Last
end.
thing you
As
see
soon-
before you die is all
as soon
your
as you
records
see-
smashed.
As soon as you see an Olympic Games with like 6 lanes and they're all black people in it, like, bye, Michael Phelps. See you later. Your
lot of waves
records
in
are
that
going
pool.
down. A lot of waves in that pool.
a lot of waves in that pool. Anyway, this has been a fun.
Well, it's a racially tinged
It
podcast.
is a racially tinged podcast.
But if someone's going to talk
Podcast.
about it, it should be us.
It should be
It
us.
should be
It should be
us.
us and Darth Vapor here. We have you as a
Moral
guest,
authority.
But we told you, like, when you sit down, I'm like, we're not interviewing you. You're just joining in.
I even-
Well, I
Yeah.
think, because I was like, well, we have to have Will on because we've talked about him like 5 times, and like, it's
gotta-
unfair to have somebody just twisting in the wind like that while we sit here and fucking
Do you have anything
talk.
you want to say to either of us?
Thanks for shouting out my DUI.
See, that's what I was like. I was thinking, like, did I bring that up, or did
No, it's probably
Kathleen
me.
bring that up?
But
Or
you came on my podcast and fully talked about it.
Yeah, I was drunk. I was really drunk.
Well, I don't know.
No, I like the only part I liked about it was that Sean, you were like, well, he actually didn't. You almost like defended me and said I
Yeah.
didn't. I just refused to blow, which is true. But then you gave up on that pretty quick. You were like, well, you refused. Wow, and then you guys
and then
continued.
I talked about how you, like, it was selfless of you to think of other people and be like, well, my DUI might be a good thing
You
I didn't
told me
hear that.
for the community in general.
You
or
told
whatever.
me that you were like, well, I'm actually glad I got the DUI, and you said this on my podcast when you
Yeah,
were drunk.
no,
Because it made
yeah.
me stop drinking and driving.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you can't. You're not allowed to. Well, it is.
Well,
that's
you
not.
could.
It's not
There's
exact.
lots of people that are that
It's
that
not
have
exactly
DUIs
true.
that will still drive and be assholes, but you're not one of those people.
I have driven a couple times since
Okay,
there.
well, maybe you are one of those people.
You don't remember?
I'm kidding.
Sober,
kidding.
though.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Completely so. But you're sober now.
Yeah. 15 days.
Wow.
15
Clean.
days. They don't make chips for that. But
They make 24-hour chips.
they do?
Yeah, so you
That's
just get
weak.
you get 15 of them.
You get 15 chips. You just keep getting.
Actually, I did a
Yeah.
Narcotics Anonymous show, and there was a lot of, like, crying and neck tattoos. And
crying?
well, it was, some of them were like, I want Coke more than your friendship. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
for sure. I think AA would be different than NA because like drugs seem like way harder to quit.
I think so.
well,
Right.
there's people that have, like, the thing that would make Narcotics Anonymous, like, hard for me is, like, okay, I'm in here for 6 days and I've got all this fucking energy from other people that have been clean for 20 years, and my attitude would be like, go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a meth addict. What did you fucking did neocitrin for a summer? You fucking goof. There's all these people in their 50s that are like, you can do it too, Ricky. And it's like, do you have any idea how much more fucking potent and powerful these drugs on the streets are now than when you fucking, you know, kicked Robitussin?
Yeah.
To
Do you
the
guys know what
70s?
methamphetamine feels like?
Yeah,
And they're like, do you know what living a clean life feels like?
You can do it.
Feels really nice.
Oh, really? You did some fucking dirty coke on the streets of Edmonton in the 70s, and you're trying to compare that to my OxyContin addiction? A man-made drug that was designed.
I do,
for us to
yeah. Like
fucking-
there's people that do fentanyl and try to get off of it. Can you imagine just being like, I do the thing that kills
everyone.
is an epidemic. That's how much I love this drug, and I'm still alive. And someone's like, you should clean things up because you could work a minimum wage job because you already have a criminal
and your
record.
sponsor is like, that reminds me of back when I did codeine.
Yeah, and then he starts
You're
thinking
like,
about that, and
"Codeine,
then
you fucking baby."
a week
Were you
later he
constipated
overdoses,
for a week?
relapses, and dies. You know how many people's sponsors
I
are
would
like
not be-
encourage them, and then a week later their sponsor just relapses, and that's
Yeah.
it.
And you,
The-
what? That must be crazy. Like when your sponsor
Yeah.
relapses.
Oh my god.
you're,
You really have to.
yeah,
think
you
about
call
it.
them. You're like, I need help. My mom's yelling, and he's like, who cares, man?
Dude,
fine."
I would be thinking like, I got a freebie. You know what I
What
mean?
do you
My
mean?
sponsor
Doing
relapsed.
So
What's
I
he gonna
get-
fucking? That condescending tone's gonna be gone.
yeah.
'Cause now he went back on meth for a while. So I get a week. You
That's
get
what
a
I hate
free
about my
week.
sponsor the most, the condescending
what do you do-
tone.
what do you
Then
what
you get to be his sponsor. Oh shit! Yeah, that is so sweet.
You just show up at the hospital and just like,
I'm your
Yeah.
sponsor now, fuckface.
the teacher becomes the loser.
well.
Yeah, the teacher becomes the loser.
Are you in a program or you just quit yourself?
No, I'm in a program. I'm doing AA.
Oh, you're
and
doing AA.
Yeah, I'm
Christian
doing
one or the?
the one you have to find. The goal is to find a higher power and then commit yourself to that, and then that's pretty much it. That's all you got to do.
All right,
So-
that's it.
And honestly, I thought it was gonna be way worse, but everyone's like pretty happy, and everyone's really, really nice, and everybody has this vibe of like, we're happy we quit drinking. Everybody I've talked to, I've seen some people that I haven't talked that look fucking really bad, but that's why I think drugs would be way worse. Like drugs would be, because liquor is like
One
it's
thing.
yeah, it's obviously like you're drunk and you're stupid, and that can like lead to drug use or whatever. But if you're just straight up like railing lines of methamphetamine,
Right.
like, and then you have to go. How do I don't get how you would fix that?
Because in AA, there's no differentiation for like, you know, like fucking I was at my lowest point, and then like me too, and like fuck you. What do you know? You just drank light beer. You know what I mean?
Keystone Lights.
Yeah.
You're addicted to Keystone Shotgun and Keystone
I
Lights.
was drinking vodka
Yeah.
24/7. This fucking
Yeah.
Keystone
I have
Light
holes in my
asshole.
stomach. I have holes in my stomach.
Holes in
You
my-
still have an air
This guy's
mattress.
drinking Foster's Lager over here.
Have you spoken?
big
at, have you spoken at AA yet? Like, have you gotten up and said hi?
Yeah, I spoke.
Did you
I
try to? This is just a question I've always had to any comedian. Like, did you make it kind of like a set?
no.
Because I felt like so many comedians would be like, "Hi, I'm," and then let me start with my opener about being drunk.
Well, it's perfect because you say like, "Hi, I'm Will Hannigan, and I'm an alcoholic." But instead of alcoholic, you say comedian.
I am William, and I'm an alcoholic comedian.
I'll be selling my
No.
CDs after the show, the meeting.
I just want
No.
to go for a drink, because that must be like after an AA meeting, you just want to get a beer.
Oh my
Think
God.
about how many of those
It's-
guys really
it's-
just want to go grab a brew.
It's all of us.
It's the weirdest meeting.
Every
Because
single
the
one of us.
natural thing for you to do after it is to go get trashed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you should all be doing.
Yeah.
Way better.
So
stories.
what I do is I never stay around and talk. I just leave and go drink somewhere else.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I would just drink, keep enjoying my life, and then go to
It's-
the AA
yeah.
meetings just for the community aspect of it.
Well, they're not.
Do they
They're
check your blood or anything when you get in there?
no, it's not like military. Like you could show up drunk
up
if
to
you
you.
want. Like yeah, it's up to you. And like I didn't make any fun of anything because I was just planning on saying like they basically do some prayers and then they announce some things and then everyone holds hands and then they talk about a step and tradition. There's steps and traditions, 12 steps, and I don't know how many traditions, probably the same. And then they talk about one, so step 11 and tradition 11, and then everybody goes around and kind of talks about how that related to them. And yeah, so that's, and then you kind of go like that, and then I was like getting ready, and then I just started crying like immediately. So I didn't get any laughs.
Do they provide you snacks?
They have coffee. They have coffee. Yeah, they
Wait a
have
minute,
coffee.
You can't skip over him crying.
No,
No, I'm trying to make him feel like it's okay that he cries. Who cares?
It's
if he
not
cries?
okay.
Crying is
I mean,
important.
yeah.
This is the thing.
What?
It is. Do you feel amazing after crying?
Yeah, but well, I don't feel amazing. I feel ashamed that I just cried.
That's see. This is the shit, guys. You guys stop feeling ashamed because as a woman, like I got red wine drunk on Sunday with my boyfriend and just like went off on something. Not on him. Like we weren't fighting, but I just like went off in a direction that my red wine mind found me. And I like unloaded. I was like bawling and like screaming about things that are bothering me, and none of them to do with my boy. He just sat there and was like, okay, good to know. And then like next morning I woke up, I'm like, I kind of feel like shit because I drank 2 bottles of red wine, but I feel amazing because I cried all night.
Yeah,
Really?
I didn't feel very good because there was one guy there who had no leg, and he was just looking at me while I cried.
And he wasn't crying.
And he was, I could see it in his like body language, like the whole like. It's like, okay, yeah, we're supposed to be here to be together, but this, like, I could feel like, okay.
I don't think somebody at AA would be rolling his eyes. That's an emotional thing.
He didn't
He shouldn't have been scoffing at you.
Yeah.
Like
No.
you're a young person trying to clean up before your life can really
And
get out of
before
control.
You lose a leg.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, when I think of a guy with one leg,
Yeah,
I just
he-
assume they'd always
but
be
he-
crying.
No, they don't cry at all.
Why not? You only have one leg.
The tears stop when the leg goes.
Tears stop.
What are you gonna cry about?
Yeah, you only got one leg left.
Grow up.
Grow.
Grow the fuck up.
I don't know. That's just, I don't know if that makes any
How
sense.
do you think
but
he lost his leg?
Uh,
A drinking accident?
He fell off a.
Because when you
Is it
see,
really
when
called
you
an
see a
accident?
one-legged guy, when you see a one-legged guy at an AA meeting, you think that's got to be rock bottom. That's what happened.
Yeah.
He was at a
Well-
party. I'll chop the wood. Ah! He was camping
that
and
would
chopping
actually
wood.
probably be really rewarding for some people to see the always drunk guy pick up the axe. Like, maybe he'll do it now. Maybe I'll be rid of this marriage.
Huh. But what, like, when people share at those meetings, is it just like about, last night I almost had a drink or whatever, like close calls and stuff?
Some people talk about their week and about their higher power and stuff like that, and some people talk about what the step means to them and what they do. And then sometimes they just, I noticed that some of the people would just kind of ramble about whatever. And it's just kind of open where no one really says anything in response to what
Yeah.
you say. You just say what you want to say. And then they go, okay, and they just go to the next person. So
It's like how group therapy works. You just like spit everything out and everyone nods and they're like, okay, now
Yeah.
hear how worse my life is compared
Yeah.
to yours. And then which is I think part of group therapy. Like I've done it a couple times and I don't like it, but but I do know like if I'm talking about something and then someone else will talk about something completely different and be like, and then this happened to me in my life, and I'm like, holy shit, I gotta put my shit in perspective and be like,
Yeah.
I'm being a giant idiot about this.
Well, I heard someone said, because when I said, one of my friends, they said they heard a podcast, maybe it was like Bill Burr or something that said, you go to an AA meeting and then you'll find out you're not an alcoholic. And so I was
Yeah.
kind of looking forward to like getting there and being like, oh, wow, these people are crazy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I'm fine. And then I got there, I was like, I'm exactly like all of these
Oh
other
no,
people.
well, but that's good. But that's what I was almost about to say. Where I'm like, well, if you go to group therapy and you don't listen to someone and say their life is worse, then you need therapy for yourself only. 'Cause
Yeah.
you're the one that isn't
Well,
the
and
worst.
alcohol is a dangerous one because it's like halfway between like a food addiction or whatever and heroin addiction, because you kind of need it, right? Like
Yeah.
alcohol's in the middle. It's not like if you're using heroin, the first week that you use heroin 3 days, you know you're a heroin addict. Like I'm fucked.
Yeah.
But with alcohol, you can kind of do it. You can do it 2 or 3 times a week and still feel like
You have control of
I don't have a
yourself.
problem.
Yeah.
I don't have a big problem. I'm okay. It's like it's social. I'm getting out. I'm talking to people.
Yeah, you could probably convince yourself like a lot more. Like, cause that's what I the first show I did in Vancouver, I got really drunk before, and this is the first time I performed like that drunk, and I was worried, but then I did it, and then after my first it went fine, and my first thought wasn't like, oh, I dodged a bullet there. I was like, oh, I can do this that drunk.
Where
so
was
then
the show?
Yeah.
It was at 8.5.
Oh, anybody can be drunk at 8.5 and do well. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
But no, that room is notoriously a drunk room, like, because they give out shots during the show. I've done that show, blasted out of my mind, and everyone was like, that was the best thing ever, which never say that to a comedian, because then to think, oh, good, I can be this drunk, it'll always be great.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I might have just bombed, but like I was like, I don't think anyone thinks that I'm that drunk, so I can get away with this.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I can't do it. I think I've done a few shows hammered, and it's always bad because I'm just too loose.
Yeah. Sometimes though it's really good. I've had ones where I'm not hammered, but I'm just like, I'm drunk. But I'm completely fearless. I'll just say whatever the fuck I want to people, and stuff will sometimes just fumble out. And
See, yeah, I can't be. I have to be phony fearless.
Yeah.
Where I'm actually filled with fear. I can't. I have to be a fraudulent fear. Like, I don't give a fuck, but I actually do. Like, please
like me.
When I'm actually fearless, then like I was in Fort McMurray and I was drunk, like doing tequila shots or whatever, and there was a smoke machine. Like, it was just fucking one of those dumb yucks shows or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I was like, whatever, fucking who cares? And I didn't care. I was like, who cares? But then there's nothing following who cares. It's just like, who cares?
And then they're all like, we do.
And they're like, okay, more jokes. And I'm like, I said I don't care. I just told you, who cares?
Who cares? I'm
And
a
then
rock
some
star.
guy in the front row, I was doing a joke about realtors or something. And he's like, fuck you. Like, you fucking piece of shit. And I'm like, what? And he's like, I'm a realtor. And I'm like, you fucking piece of shit. Like, who gives a fuck about you? You Remax fucking selling a dwelling every fucking week and pretending you're a hero. And he's like, you want to fucking fight? Like,
Whoa, was he that mad at
yeah,
you?
he wanted to fight me because I was saying like, well, you know, why do realtors need their like faces on their cards? Like, it's the most ridiculous concept. And he's like, you have a fucking headshot. And you know, and I'm like, I'm a comedian, you fucking moron.
I'm in the
You
arts.
sell bungalows.
Do you get mad when you're drinking?
Well, I just didn't care. Like, no, and I don't get
You're
mad.
not I've seen you drunk. You're not a mean
No.
or angry drunk. No.
No, I was like, I'll fight you fucking not realizing, like, well, I don't really want to fight. Like, I drove to Fort McMurray,
estate agent.
$375, and I get punched in the face.
He's probably got a
19
lot of
times.
keys, too, for
He's
all
got
those
a
houses.
lot of keys. Yeah.
Put
And
it
you
in
can
his-
fucking imagine him just putting one of those for sale stakes in my heart. Like, just...
Are realtors got to be pretty high on the list of people that most people hate the most.
Realtors?
Yeah.
Realtors? They're like used car salesmen.
I hate the realtor that sold me my apartment. I think that she was unethical and fucked me over. I
Oh,
remember her
you're
name.
going to question the ethics of a realtor
I know,
on
how
a
dare I?
podcast?
She fucked me
Who
over
did she
so-
work for?
I don't know. Like, she was a Remax or something. But I remember, like, I didn't know what I was doing. She told me how much it was. I'm like, I guess that's how much I pay. Like, I didn't even counter offer. Then I found out after that her boyfriend was the other realtor he was the main realtor on it.
Yeah.
So they both made commission on it. And her friend was the person that sold the apartment, and he made away with he made like $100,000 on that sale. And so, and now I'm stuck in this condo where I can't leave because it's not worth what I owe in a mortgage. And every day I wake up just like hoping that I can remember her name so I can find her and
Oh, you don't even know her name?
say something. I've forgotten it. I could probably look it up. I could probably go back and look at my paperwork.
That's
but
brutal. Have you seen that billboard crossing the high level right by the Garneau Theater? And it's like Melon Chuck. And it's like 12 people in suits, and they're all douchebags. They all look like
Yes,
they're
I've
at
seen
they
that.
all look like
Ugh.
the biggest douchebags, and it's like they're like, let us sell your house. And it's like, do you have a choice? Can you just not do a realtor? Like,
you can sell your house by owner. Like my dad and mom did it, and like because my dad is super cheap and my mom wanted the most money, but like you have to know like a lot of stuff. Like you can really. Fuck up.
but you only have to know as much as a real estate agent knows,
But
which can't be that
everything is-
hard.
Everything is like the whole system is beautifully set up to keep the money constant. Like, it's like realtors, lawyers, banks, like all the, you got to go talk to a lawyer. So like, if you want to not deal with a realtor, then
you still deal
now
with
you got to go to a lawyer and get all the documents signed. And well, we deal with realtors, so boy.
Did you know it's $500 to file? Like all this other bullshit. No, it's true though. That like real estate agents would not exist in a perfect world. It would just be like, hi, I come to your house. Here's the money. And now I have a house. I don't have to go through all this blah, 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 blah.
I think we really feel like their role in society is unnecessary. Like, that's why we resent them, because it's like they seem to get a lot of money for something that doesn't even need to happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't even need to happen. Like, I mean, I'm looking for a condo. I know I need 2 bedrooms and a bathroom and whatever. Like, I really don't need a tour guide. You know what I mean? This isn't a fucking art show.
My uncle has tried to sell houses for a long time. He still sends me Facebook messages and stuff.
Would you like a
And
house?
it's like also one of the saddest things, like to see
if they're not good at it.
If they're struggling,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like seeing a man in a show home cleaning up in a show home, that's really sad. Or like doing the weed whacking at a show home. It's because it doesn't look like real work.
That's why you find a lot of rich people are realtors, because like if you're rich already, like you don't have much to lose by putting everything into this one house, and then you sell one house, you make 20 grand. You're like, okay, let's do this again.
Let's flip it.
Let's
keep flipping it.
Let's do some front flips and back flips.
Take that property and flip it.
Yeah, those have to be. I think even beyond lawyers, I think real estate agents are scummy.
They
just seem so sleazy, don't they? Like, I mean, because
they can't even sell a car. Like, they have to sell something that's in the ground and you need.
Yeah. And it's self-explanatory.
Yeah, how
like
hard
it's
is it
like
to sell? Like,
it's like, why do we need 2? Because you need a real estate. They need a real estate agent, and then you have a real estate agent, and then it's like 2 real estate agents for every house that's sold.
And they all get money.
And it's like 2 people standing across from each other, and there's.
It's
like a house lawyer. It's like, I need a house lawyer and you need a house lawyer.
Yeah.
Like, are we divorcing each other?
That's why
no, you were trying to buy a house.
Like, now we are.
That's why we make a real
Big divorce coming
or
through.
like a person that sells cars, or like, I'm a expert salesperson. I'm like, you're selling something that people are coming to you to buy. You're not going out and finding these people. You're selling something. The people are walking through the doors ready to make a large purchase, and you're just going to point them out what color.
But at least with a used car salesman, like, they have to know some of the specs of the vehicles they sell or whatever.
They have to know how to drive standard at least or something.
Yeah,
you know?
so they have to. Yeah, there's something there. People are going to walk in and go, does the SL have the EcoBoost? And and if you just, I don't know, like if you just say I don't know all day, you're not going to sell.
Yeah, it has a roof.
There is, you do need, but it's
but
sell
it's a home. It's like, is there a basement in it? Yeah. Is there
you got
cupboards above the oven? Yep.
How many bathrooms?
3,
3.
2.5.
2.5.
Is there a master bedroom? Yep. Like, so you don't need any information, you know. Like,
no, you don't need them.
If I went to sell cars one day, they'd be like, you got to leave. Like, you're killing us with your lack of information. But like, as a realtor, I'd be able to get by one day. Like, if you were like, Sean, zip in and show that home for me.
Yeah.
Be like, here we are in the. Yep. We're in this room, and they'd be like, I like it, and I'd be like, it's a great color.
You're going to get well, we don't really have listeners, but if we did, you'd get listeners that were real estate agents that would come back and be like, listen, we need to know what the style of architecture is. We need to know what kind of insulation there. We need to know. And like, they don't have to know any of this shit.
No, you
you
don't.
give
Is the basement finished?
people a sheet.
What do you mean by finished? Like,
just
Anytime
keep
I've ever
staring
gone
at
to an
you.
open house, I went to open houses with a friend once, and it was so funny because like literally the realtor did nothing but bake cookies. Like, she just put cookies in the oven and then put these sheets out and just smiled at everyone.
Yeah, because
and people would ask her a question and she'd like just look at the sheet. She goes, all of the information is on the sheet.
Because you'd be also like, if you're buying a house, you'd be scared to not know anything about houses, so you wouldn't ask any questions because you don't want to look stupid. But then the real estate agent does the same thing, so no one knows anything.
Yeah.
Right.
And then a house gets bought, and
nobody's trying to outsmart you. Like, if you go to a used car salesman, they're usually trying to trip them up. Like, customers like that know a lot about cars will be like, I'm looking for this package and blah blah blah. Like, well, you only have the V6. I don't know if I like that one. This chassis is fucked up. You have it in a green? Like, fuck.
I'm every salesperson's favorite dream because I'm like, okay, I'll have all the
I've had to like stop myself from doing that. Like, I'm trying to buy a car now.
I did that too. My first I bought a car for like $2,000 or whatever, and then when I got I was 17 or 18, and I went into like a car dealership, like a Go Auto, and in a day I was like on the phone with my mom. I was like, just give me my information that I need. As I was like, I need undercoating. Like they were selling me the undercoating, and my mom was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm buying this car. It's like $10,000. Like I'll just buy it." And she was like, "No." And then so she made me give the phone to these people, and I was so mad. I was like, "This is bullshit."
My mom.
I'm an adult now, and she basically said like, "No, just not today." And yeah, they almost got me for $10,000, and I was so mad at my mom for like 2 weeks.
And then you realize, no, she's a good
Oh, wait a
woman.
minute. Undercoating is unnecessary. Yeah.
How'd they get me so fast?
No, I went for a test drive in a car yesterday, and the guy was kind of like, "Well, you want to write her up?" And I was like, like part of me was like, "Sure,"
Yeah.
like just to be nice.
Yes,
like I'm
I
like, I want people to like, I don't want him to have a pain in the ass day where he's got to take me in 2 or 3 cars. So like, but it's like, why is that my thought process? Why am I worried about this guy having to take me out in 2 or
It's
3
his
cars
job
and
to take
wasting
you
his
out.
time? Like, I don't want him to have to waste his time. So you're gonna buy like a shittier car
Because you don't want
because you don't want somebody to waste their time.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I had to force myself to be like, yeah, I'm not gonna buy anything today. Like I would like to drive a few other cars, you know. And
I
he was like,
applied.
"Oh, I guess so." Like he kind of made it seem like, I mean, I guess we could go driving around in a
Yeah.
bunch of different
Yeah,
cars,
we don't
but
have to. You already like this one.
I mean, it's a Kia Rondo.
Rondo!
You're not gonna find a 2015 Kia Rondo that runs like this.
Yeah, if you can, buy
And
it.
something fell off of it while we were driving.
Like,
Yeah,
for real?
we were driving, and then you just hear like a hard rattle, and I'm like, this is this is a different car.
Yeah, wrap it up. Let's take this wobbly car.
Because I already know what if something's rattling in my car. I'm like, I already know what that is. But in this one, I'm like, that's a new rattle. Like I don't know. And then it fell off. Poof! Like it just was behind us, like a big piece of fucking plastic. That came
What did
off
he
the
do?
front of. He was
He
like,
didn't look at it, did he?
he was like, whoa.
So you wanted me to put up the
and then
paperwork?
and then
Joe?
when we
Yeah.
got back, he was like, oh yeah, that piece is missing. Like there was a piece missing or whatever.
You don't need that though.
No, we'll
Not on
fix
the
that
Rondo.
before you.
Oh yeah.
After you buy it.
No, they run better when you do that.
They're actually fast. My friend did that in a hotel in Mexico. We went there just when we were 17, and he was like, the airflow is way better if you take the vent out. So he took the vent out. He broke the toilet paper thing, and then he took parts of his bed out, and it broke. And then they tried charging us
Why
like
would he take parts of the
$2,000.
band out?
Oh, I think he broke it. He was really big, man.
Oh,
So, or
Was he a
boy,
competitive eater?
not in a league,
Most of those
but
competitor eaters, I can't talk today. Competitive, they're pretty small guys. Like I was watching
Oh,
Joey
fuck yeah.
Chestnut, and we were at a bar, and I was eating my dinner, and I almost threw up watching.
It's
him
disgusting,
competitive.
right?
He looks
Like-
like he's backwards vomiting.
Well, because Kobayashi, he's the Godfather, and he eats
Tiny.
like fucking. He eats like just like it's his first hot dog.
Yeah.
He's just like he cuts it in half, he slits the dog down the middle, and then just goes.
I wonder
up
if-
she goes
I wonder if-
into his mouth, done, and then wets his bun, boop, done.
Wets
And his only
bun.
competitor is this Joey Chestnut guy that
Yeah.
is like, like
Yeah, it was
every time he puts a dog in his mouth, he's like,
It was so I never seen.
and
Joey
he's always
Chestnut eat.
2 dogs behind Kobayashi, and Kobayashi's just like, real. There we go. He's like Mike. He just fucking. It's like
It's
he just easy
disgusting.
power.
He's a-
And he's a little dude. He's like fucking 5'3" and 110 pounds.
What drives you to do that? Because I'd rather be a raging alcoholic than a hot dog guy.
competitive eater.
I don't know how much money is in but Kobayashi's the guy that I watched a 30 for 30 about it, and it was like not that popular. Like it was like fucking weird. And the American people who were doing it were all fat.
Yeah.
But in Japan, like leave it to the Japanese, they were competitive eating on television for decades.
Oh yeah, because didn't
So-
sumo wrestlers eat a lot?
Yeah, but this Kobayashi guy was like but he'd never eaten hot dogs before. Like in
Maybe that's why he can eat them so fast.
So,
'cause he
yeah,
still
he's
likes
just
them.
still
so
happy.
when he was in Japan, he was eating like fucking sushi and cheese or whatever. And out of a bowl. That's what he had to eat over there. Like
That was
yeah. Like
It's
so
like
he
a
would eat all
comic
that.
book origin story.
Yeah, so he was a killer in Japan in competitive eating, but he'd never eaten hot dogs before he came to America. he comes to America like for his first international eating competition, and he's like, "Oh, hot dogs, okay." Like he's like, "I've never eaten hot dogs before." And then there's all these like big, huge guys around him. Like, who the fuck is this kid?
Yeah.
And then the very first one, he ate 50 hot dogs. And I think it was like 20. It was 25 more than the world record.
I need to watch a video of Kobayashi eating versus because literally it was on loop at this sports bar. It was just like because they were doing highlights of it because I think it was the 4th of July and they must have a special
hot dogs.
And it was just like Joey Chestnut I said it looks like he's reverse puking. Like it looks like
disgusting,
he's just shoving puke in his mouth.
It looks like it's his last hot dog. Every hot dog
disgusting.
looks like the last one he's gonna be able to eat. Like
I was like, can you turn the TV off?
He eats a dog and then goes, and then his cheeks fill with the dog, and then he holds his hand over his mouth to prevent dog from coming out of his mouth.
That's a smart tactic, though. He's
another one. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're gonna do that for 30? And he does
It's
it.
disgusting. It's the most horrifying thing I've
Maybe
ever
is
seen.
he throwing up? Here, give me some.
I don't even have a gag reflex.
Baby bird.
Joey Chambers he's the biggest gag reflex in the business.
Joey Chambers.
What is his name?
Joey Chestnut.
Joey. Like Chestnut is smarter.
Chestnut is a more respected
Did you call him
name.
Joey Chambers? His name is Joey Chestnut.
Excuse me, it's
Why would
Joey
you
Chestnut.
call him Chambers?
I
That's
don't
the
fucking know much about competitive
Chambers
eating.
of Commerce.
I'm a chamber of
you
fucking
know,
food
Joey
commerce.
Oh my
from the
God.
Chambers.
But no, Kobayashi, he's the natural. You know what I mean? He's eating 50 dogs like it's nothing. You know, he's looking at his iPad.
I
I'm
wonder
sure
what's in their
everyone
brain.
asks what their shits look like, but what do their shits look like?
How big is his stomach, though?
Yeah.
That's what you think. Like, what kind of a freakish fucking stomach is that?
Yeah, because you don't. That's the thing is he doesn't chew it, so it's not masticated food. That's one of my favorite words. Masticated.
And you can't go
It's
for
all
his shit
chunky
mid.
food.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just fucking.
I bet if he
weird.
vomited, he'd start choking on his own vomit. and
Maybe. I bet you it'd just be a bunch of wieners.
But
coming out of it.
Kobayashi doesn't vomit, man.
No.
He just fucking pounds
Did
it
they?
down.
How
and
long
then-
did they check? For? Do you have to wait like an hour?
To see if they puke or shit. I would hate to be
I think
that
you're allowed to
judge.
shit like
I'm just
immediately
gonna watch
after.
you,
During.
see if you're gonna puke or not. No, that sounds awful.
But there's two guys. There's two great competitive eaters. The rest of them are just fucking garbage. They're
I've
just
never
there.
thought competitive eating was good ever since Stand By
Oh,
Me. That
you-
fucking movie, because I'm not a big fan of vomit, and Stand By Me,
Mhm.
and that whole scene with the fat guy that pukes. Oh my god, that gives me flashbacks. Horrifying.
So you're not into puke.
Not into puke. Into gay male sex, but not puke.
Those one is Kathleen. One of those things is an expression of love, and the other is gay sex. That's a fun misdirection. I don't know.
Oh my god. Oh.
I don't even have anything. What competitive eating? I was going to talk about that, and blackfish. I was going to talk about that
You did.
because I like to talk about things that happened 4 years ago. I just got into Stranger Things
You
too.
did just get into
I
straight.
just got into it like 9 years too late. It's pretty good.
Is Winona Ryder still in it a lot, or just mostly the first season?
No, she's in it a lot.
Because I haven't seen season 2.
No, season 2 is funny.
Okay.
What
It's
is
pretty
it
fun.
about Stranger Things that everyone cares so much about?
Well, it's like a good combination of a lot of
nostalgia.
different things, like nostalgia stuff, right? Like they're all dressed up as little Ghostbusters on Halloween and things like that. And so, like, it's like
childhood.
nostalgia mixed with like horror, mixed with like other dimensions. So people are really
Yeah.
into like, I believe in that. I believe there are other dimensions.
I believe in astrology.
They didn't look hard.
They didn't look hard.
No, they were like, Will, and then Will, where are you? And then there once in a while they'd be like, Barb, anybody? If I can forget it. Will. So there was like 10 Wills and one little baby Barb. Barb? No, she's probably gone. If she was here,
It's
we'd
the same
hear her.
monster again.
She's on Riverdale now.
She's on Riverdale.
Yeah, she's on Riverdale.
Barb
now.
is?
Barb is, but she's a
Okay.
different person. I can't
I
remember.
don't like that.
She's
Why should
Jughead's girlfriend.
she should
Jughead's
just be
girlfriend?
Barb?
I can't remember. She's in there somewhere. Can't remember which character she is.
They really gave her. She got fucked in that movie. for
I'm sure she still walked away with lots of good money.
Which
Yeah.
one's Barb? Is that Winona?
The beginning scene.
Barb is
She's like the best friend of the hot girl,
Yeah,
She
the friend
dies
that's
pretty
like, "Don't
quick."
Start fucking people.
and then she dies.
She's the girl who.
Then she dies.
Yeah.
That's what she gets.
She's afraid that her yeah, because if you're like the kind of gross
Oh,
chick and
yeah.
you're with a hot chick and your best friends growing up, and then you're like we're together forever, and then all of a sudden a bunch of dicks start trying to touch your best friend, you're gonna be the one that's like, get out of here, you fucking weird dicks. Me and her are best friends.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't do that.
No.
No.
That's why I like Euphoria, because the girl that's like that should be the fat friend that doesn't get fucked fucks a lot, and I love
Yeah,
it.
I don't think that
Fucking
that probably
love it.
happens like
Good
way
for
less
her.
now, like where people are like
where people
more.
actually accept people for who they are.
Yeah, because like people in high school, like my little sister's only 2 years behind me, but she would school me all the time about like LGBTQ plus stuff and just be like, oh, you don't know what pansexual is, and then wouldn't tell me the answer, and like just like they know
Google it.
so
Did you
much
Google
more.
it?
No,
No.
no.
My joke about pansexual is that a pansexual is a woman that fucks men that never want to grow up.
Oh, a Peter
Aw,
Pan.
That's kind
Peter
of fun.
Pansexual.
Peter Pan sexual.
That's a corporate joke though, so it's
Mm.
not something.
That's a corporate joke.
They always ask for pansexual jokes at corporates. They
Well,
love
you
them.
could be like, they got all these names for different sexualities now. You know what I mean? You got to call them whatever the fuck they want to be called. And then in Redwater, they're like, yeah, what are these fags? And then you're like, you guys heard of pansexual? You heard of this fucking pan? Now we got to call them pansexual.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah. Spoon
And then you
sexuals
say-
too.
Yeah, spoon sexual.
What's a spoon sexual?
Um,
That's a thing.
Is it?
It's, no,
Oh Jesus!
it's like a really bad like cutlery
spoon
joke.
sexual?
Sorry, I feel bad about that. For
I feel, what? Is it real?
you guys both looked at me like,
sexual. Yeah,
I only
Kids are
like to
spooning.
get eaten out with a spoon.
Ooh, that's gross.
No,
Put
I
my
just-
pussy in a bowl and eat it with milk.
Somebody, I saw that somewhere. I don't know where I saw it. Some girl was like, "Are you gonna get scooped out?" And I was like,
Scooped
What?
out.
I was thinking of cuddling.
Yeah,
scooped
I
out
don't
was
want
a
to
thing.
fucking.
I don't know. It's horrifying. Basically, from watching that show Euphoria, I'm like, it's horrifying to be a teen these days. Horrifying.
Really?
And
Why?
empowering
Because they
So
get their
eating out
what?
is
Because they
called
fuck all the
scooped out?
I
time.
don't know if that was what it was from something I saw in
Yeah.
some show.
Okay.
I think it's good because like teenagers are gonna be better at eating pussy and sucking.
Oh
dick
yeah,
and
boys and girls.
everyone's gonna fuck more, and they're gonna be like the cool. They're gonna be like the cool, sexually progressive.
And then something
and
will
everyone's
happen
nice.
and
And
they're
then
all
something
fucked
will
up.
happen.
And
And
they'll
then-
blame us on how we fucked up the future for them the way we're blaming baby boomers right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna.
I don't
look at
think
us
that's
and
gonna
go
happen.
like-
I think they're gonna like us.
Well,
Or
you're one of them.
me. They're gonna like me.
Stop
the
it.
kids of today are gonna love
I
it.
am gonna turn them against you guys.
Yeah, they're gonna hate us.
What are we? Are we Gen?
You're a Gen Xer. I'm a millennial cusp. Like I'm like the first year of the millennials, so I'm not really a millennial.
You're Gen X.
I'm Gen X, probably.
Yeah.
But if you want to look at numbers, I'm a
Oh,
cusp.
really? Statistically
Cusper.
speaking, are you? So wait a minute. So like, that's when millennials started. Like
Yeah, 81, motherfucker.
81?
81.
That's bullshit. I don't think.
Look it
Look
up.
I
it
get
up.
that.
Just like you did LGBTQ
Yeah, that's
plus.
bullshit.
No.
Thanks for making me feel so fucking old, Will.
I just don't think. I don't know. I knew that millennials were from 81 and over, but like, I don't feel like that's correct.
Listen, nobody wants to be a millennial. What? 81 to 96.
Jeez,
I guess
Louise.
I'm on the other. I'm on. I'm
You're a
95.
cusper. You're a cusper as
I'm
well.
right on the edge too.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are both millennials.
Yeah,
I love it.
Little millennial cuspers.
You're on the
So-
one end of millennial, and you're on the
But
other
I'm
end.
also
Yeah.
my generation has also been told like, oh, you're the last gen, and probably you're part of this, the last generation that grew up without computers and iPhones. And like we
Right.
knew a world without the internet.
Yeah, we had
and-
typing 10.
I did.
Typing 10, yeah.
Yeah, I
Where
took
you would-
typing. I took typing 10 in grade 10.
This was the worst. I remember one time in computers 10, some kid figured out how to make like talk whatever you wrote, and he was like. He was being an asshole to a not so cool kid, and it was like, but it was
Bullied.
funny because it was the computer.
Cyberbullying.
It was
The first cyberbully. Oh, that is fucking
It's still bullying.
fantastic.
It's still
The
in-
very
it's
first
still-
cyberbully.
It's in-person
Hello,
bullying.
you fucking loser. Here, check it out. Rick, you're a fucking geek. Rick, make it stop. Like, I didn't do anything. I'm not doing anything.
It's the computer.
I didn't say anything.
Watch him cry.
I didn't say a word.
Hilarious that we today just figured out how cyberbullying started.
Yeah, and the first guy probably punched the computer. He's like, somebody shut this fucking computer up or I'll do it myself. Just fist through a Macintosh 20 green screen.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's great that Kathleen was there for the very first
was
cyberbully of all
there.
time, right
I
on the
was
cusp
there.
of millennialdom.
That's the magic of the time I was born.
She's on the last float at the millennial parade.
You know, I was in that generation where everybody's high school song was "Time of Your Life" by Green Day.
Hope you
It
had
must
the
be all the
time
time of
of
our
your life. And you think, I did, because I haven't lived longer than
Because I
this
have
to
no
know that
idea
it's
what life
terrible.
is. To realize that it gets so much.
Hell, Rick.
different
What? Rick. Your mom's a bitch. Why did the computer say that?
Your mom's a bitch.
Rick.
Okay, let's do our ad.
Okay, let's do it.
We have every week we do a scratchy ticket. I think you know this as a big fan.
Big fan.
Of the show. We've only won once, and it was for $2.
You guys won?
I want you to scratch that with your jewel.
Do you want to scratch
That's
it?
for good luck. No, you don't have to. You don't have
Millennial scratch.
You can scratch
Millennial
it.
scratch.
There's a coin if you need it. What is this scratchy ticket brought to us by? Well,
to. K4 Financial.
yeah, K4 Financial, Kent Tilley and K4 Financial, who are
You
financial
should, you know
planners.
what? Go watch some of his videos because he's because you don't think Kent has an expertise, do you?
I do.
He doesn't strike you as a man with an expertise.
I
And then
know.
you watch some of his financial videos and you're like, this guy fucking knows what he's talking about. He doesn't want us to know that he knows. He's like pretending, you know.
No, he wants you to know.
Oh, does
He's
he?
making videos.
This is our financial plan, and
I think
if
he's
you
keeping
go
it a
see
secret.
Kent, he'll
He-
tell you it's a stupid
I
plan.
I
He's a
actually
very-
invested with Kent like a year and a half ago,
Really?
and I made $50, and then I took all my money out and
Yeah,
spent
no,
it
that's
on
when
drinking.
you do it. Yeah,
Are
because
you
it's
really gonna
about
scratch it
short
with a
term.
jewel?
Jewel.
All right.
Is that
Whoa!
Did you just scratch the whole thing?
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah,
Scratch
look at
them.
this.
Scratch them all. We're trying to
See?
get set for life.
How many do you get?
It's not just
You
about
get
vapes.
5 chances. Oh my God, we might have won $5. No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
How in the fuck is it possible that we haven't won
there's more.
anything yet?
Yeah, this is bullshit.
I mean, this is ridiculous.
Is that
Set.
Yeah, there's
For-
so? You have to go
Like-
up or down?
There has to be 3 identical things per little box.
Oh,
So
God.
nothing.
I don't like
It's
this at
very
all.
frustrating. And I bet you if you actually went to a real financial planner like K4 Financial, he'd be like, just give me 10%
Yeah,
of your
they-
paycheck
I-
and let's
that's-
save some money for
The
you. I don't know.
odds for these scratch tickets are super low.
So what? So is succeeding in stand-up comedy, all right? And we're losing on all fronts.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
about putting the work in.
You just gotta know you're gonna lose.
Yeah, you just got to show up and do some
This is making me feel bad
scratchies.
now.
Well, don't let it
How-
make you feel
don't worry
bad.
about it.
Like, don't start drinking again if we don't win, is all I'm saying, okay?
Yeah.
Can't tell me what to do.
The student is the sponsor now. That would be fucking sweet. Just you at the hospital bed of your former sponsor.
You know
being
what
like,
rhymes with sponsor? Loser.
If you start telling people who's at your meetings, you get kicked out of Alcoholics Anonymous because you're not keeping it anonymous.
Yeah, you
Only
gotta
if they
keep it-
find out.
Oh,
Okay.
all right.
I mean, you can just lie and do it, or you could just
You should convince them to do a podcast.
really.
like an
Every
Alcoholics
week you bring
Anonymous
on a
podcast.
different alcoholic to
And
talk
name
about his
them.
rock bottom.
No, I can't. Honestly, I've been reading the big book, and like I'm at the part where like
big book.
there's 3 sections, and the first is like explaining what the AA does, and then there's like 200 or 300 pages just of stories about drunks, and I am sick of stories about drunks now.
Yeah.
No,
Like they're all the same. I drank a bunch, and they all. The weird thing is they always throw in, because it was made in the 30s. They always throw in like how hard they're drinking, and they're like, so it was around this time that I got a wife and had a kid. Anyways, and then they just keep and they talk about their business and stuff, but usually getting a wife is in like 1 sentence, and I'm like, how the fuck did you do that?
because you're a romantic, and it should be at least 2 sentences.
It should be a paragraph.
I dated a guy
Yeah.
that was in AA once, and we went on a big car ride together.
Big sober car ride.
Big, so well, he was.
Sounds like
He
shit.
played like speaker stories for me, and I'm like, oh my and I was just like,
Speaker stories?
like speakers, so like everybody, like they recorded people's stories, and so then he was like, "Isn't that an interesting story, Kathleen?" And I'm like, "Are you trying to are you Mormonizing Alcoholics Anonymous? Like you're trying to convert me to come to your cult?"
No, they tell you to do that to talk to everybody about
you
it.
can only go if you want to go, though. It's like anything.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you're only drinking a little bit. You don't need somebody like, well, look, you should also come clean.
Because
Yeah.
they want. What I find is like they don't want you to stop drinking. They
want
just
fun
want
to be
everybody to know what an alcoholic is. But I think what they forget is that no one cares that you have a drinking problem because it's your drinking problem and you're a you're a loser and it's your fault. So you go there. But AA, even in the book, they're like you have to tell people. Like they want you to tell people so they understand that it's a disease, but they're just like promoting it as or not promoting it, but they're just trying to like convince people that it's a disease.
Yeah.
But no one cares if it's a disease if you're not affected by it, especially since it's alcohol and it's just about fun. Like it's
and
fun
they want to act like it's an accomplishment. You know, like
Yeah.
it's like you were a piece of shit, then you were a piece of shit who was drinking, now you're a piece of shit who doesn't drink.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I
you
know
want me to be
plenty
like,
of alcoholics
congratulations.
that are now anonymous. Or not really, but like, that's not, but they're preachy pricks.
You go anonymous.
They're preachy
Oh,
pricks.
Oh,
yeah.
they're
Some of them.
they're so preachy.
Like there was a person that I was on tour with, and he was just like every day, and but are you feeling a hangover? Nope. Oh, you really partied pretty hard last night. Wow.
You did some pretty stupid
Yeah.
things.
I was up
enjoyed
listening.
myself.
I was listening to everything you were doing last night, and it sounded like you were having a lot of
oh
fun.
boy.
I had terrible fun.
I had
they-
to crank
yeah.
up my Gandhi audio book to drown out your fuck noises.
But yeah, that's
You really go after it when you're hammered.
was I fucking for sure. Like I might have been, but I don't remember.
You were
But,
on tour, Kathleen. Things happen. You
might
were
have
in the
been.
big condo room.
it was Halifax, but I don't.
You're not going to waste the big room. When you get the
my
big
God.
room, use it. You know what I mean?
I had something, but I don't know if you want to hear it on the podcast about when we went to Brooks. That I'm not sure if you remember.
Oh, that I took my pants off
Yeah.
in the bar. Yeah, I remember.
But you yelled at me.
I yelled at
You
you.
yelled at me because the lady was asking you to take your pants off, and you were.
She wanted to see my tattoos.
Yeah, you were so drunk, and you were just because I was like, "We'll just go in the back or something," and you were like, "I can't. I'm not wearing any fucking panties." And then I went for a cigarette and then came back in, and you were gone. But there was all the female servers on the other side of the bar, and so I went to get a beer, and the bar's packed, and you were under the bar, trying to pull your pants back up and holding your crotch with one hand. And I was like, Jesus Christ,
Oh.
Kathleen. And you were like, what, have you never seen a fucking pussy before?
That's awesome. That's the best.
Oh, like it was like you were holding your pussy in a bar, and then you're like, oh yeah.
No
What?
one saw it. I was holding
Yeah,
it.
no,
Jesus, I was trying to be a lady.
What, you don't have a little sister? You all fucking
There was-
wide-eyed to see a girl puss?
Yeah. So what? We're at a bar.
And it was like I was showing all
What?
the
You
boys
never
in
seen
the
a
bar.
pussy?
I was showing all the girls my tattoos, so I'm not embarrassed. I'm empowered by that story, actually.
I mean, it was good, but like what? It's like good
I
job,
think it's
but
great.
but I mean, like I thought you should go in the kitchen or something. Like
Why
go
would I-
there's.
That's unhygienic.
Well, the bar's not
Oh, you
exactly
would be
hygienic.
behind the bar. It
Touching
wasn't-
lemons.
And if I remember in my blackout haze, that part it was just like an old bar where there was nobody behind that side.
No, the bar, like no one could, like people only near sitting at the bar would have been able to see you.
Yeah.
But the bar was at capacity.
Yeah, well, whatever. You only live once.
That was a pretty crazy.
That was a very crazy.
That was fun.
I like that, though. I like that. That's a good way to end the podcast. It's just, what? And it could have been anybody. Like, it was the person she came with, but it could have been if it was a random guy, like, what in the hell? You'd be like, what?
Well, she didn't say my name, so when I said
Yeah.
Kathleen, she probably thought it was like the owner or something.
Yeah, what? You never seen a fucking pussy before. And that's what's great about being a woman is nobody can laugh at your pussy.
And
Right,
also,
like-
you can hold your pussy and not, you see much of the pussy, right?
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that. If you're a dude that does that,
There's
you
a little
can't
more-
see any dick. You're like, got small dick.
There's
there."
always like,
Yeah, for
it's like
sure.
those gel things that you squeeze, and then there's always a ball.
Oh, right.
Yeah, like a stress testy. You know what I mean? Like a
Yeah,
stress
like
I can't wait
testicle.
to tell Adam you were looking at my pussy on tour.
Hey, we were in Brooks. It happens.
It's Brooks.
No, Brooks was fun. Brooks, I almost got you killed as well, though.
Oh yeah, when you were like calling these people's children as stupid as they were.
No,
but
I
they're-
wasn't calling their children stupid. I said you ruined your children's lives by voting for Kenny.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure you called.
so it
well,
was a
whatever.
measured thing. That yeah.
Yeah,
But
and
it
then
was a fun time. We all got
It was
there
a good
alive.
time.
And
You
then-
slept
but-
the whole way home.
yeah, it was after you left because you left. You were like, whatever, bye, and then you just left after a little while. And I was like, yeah, sorry guys about Kathleen. I hope she didn't upset you. And then they were really sad. They were like, I just really didn't like how she brought our children into it.
Fuck you.
And then the next day when I told you that, you're like, you said the easiest way to get underneath a moron's skin is to attack his kids.
Bring their children
Bring
in.
their
Oh,
children
yeah.
into it.
It's
It's a
true.
great way to do it because then they'll be like, fucking.
I never hate the
How
kids.
dare you?
but-
Don't have the right to talk about
And-
Diddy.
And I never be like say anything about the kids. I just say
Yeah.
I've said this before because I get drunk and mean sometimes. I'm like, your kids must be really disappointed in you, and like that will hurt
Oh yeah,
a
that's
regular
a good one. Like,
parent.
Oh, I know a
Aw.
girl, family friend whose father's a flat earther.
Oh God.
And he was at my birthday, and he's like, well, he said, Kyrie Irving, he's like, the NBA star said that that the earth is flat. And I was like, and then his daughters are like 9 and 7. And they were like, Dad, they all started making, like, saying how stupid he
Oh my
was.
God, your 7-year-old daughter's
Yeah.
roasting you
Yeah.
about being a flat earther.
The 7-year-old has a guitar, and she writes songs about her dad, imitating him, talking about flat Earth, and she performed it at my birthday with him there. And the song is, "The Earth is a hologram, the sun's a and she just names the constellations and says they're all holograms.
Everything's a hologram. Oh my God.
This kid's got a future in
Yeah.
I
music.
like it. I like what she's doing.
Well, this was fun. We all found
Yeah.
out how
That we'll have to
horrifying
have
we get
Will
when we're
on-
drunk. When we get
We'll have to have Will on again for a
Some-
Will. We should have a
someday.
Will Hannigan Alcoholics Anonymous update,
Yes, let's do it.
Sure.
unless he starts drinking again.
Wait, no, that's
No, that's actually
That
the
would be fun
point.
too,
That's
yeah.
the
one
point.
question though. Like, are you for sure never want to drink ever again in
Yeah.
your life? Good for you.
Yep.
I can't do that, but good for you.
Yeah, it's hard.
Amazing.
It's very
It's
hard.
hard.
Like, I don't even know. Like every time I've been like, I've always said, oh, I'm just taking a break. I've never been like, I'm quitting
Yeah.
forever. I'm like, no, we're just gonna have a little break, and then I'm going
Yeah.
back to the party side.
Yeah, see that that takes some more guts. Like going to AA and saying
Yeah.
I'm going to quit forever takes
Yeah.
more guts than like I'm going to take a little breather,
Yeah.
like sober October, like
Sober
some
October,
fucking
cleansing out my
goofy
body.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, and then right back to fucking
Same,
hell.
same as hell.
It's
yeah.
really boring. Like the first couple days were exciting, and now it's really boring. It's hard, and like sometimes I'll just like start staring at like someone's beer, and I won't hear anything they're saying, and I'll just picture all the times that me and Steve McGovern like drank a ton.
And then they'll just say, "What, have you never seen a fucking beer before?"
You've never seen a pussy
Yeah.
hold a beer before? Chug, chug,
You
chug,
never
chug,
seen
chug, chug,
never
chug,
seen
chug, chug.
a pussy chug a beer before?
My pussy
Yeah.
might be famous. That's all I'm
Oh
saying.
yeah, no,
That's all
she's
I'm
got a
saying.
super can pussy.
Beer bong.
Beer bong.
Never seen my pussy take a beer bong before?
You gonna get scooped up?
Oh my God, I'm gonna vomit.
Ah well.
I'm gonna Joey Chestnut all over the place.
Joey Chambers, thank you. All right. Well,
fun.
thanks,
Thank you.
Will.
This is
Thanks,
fun.
Kathleen.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Kent.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Kent.
Thanks,
Tilly,
Kent.
K4 Financial. This is your second last ad before we're gonna pay up again.
last. Oh my God. You're already putting them on the fucking clock. Like, listen, we will stop speaking about you immediately.
I'm just
Do you understand? If we do not receive the EMT by next Tuesday, we will rip the shit out of K4 an entire episode.
How many ads did
yeah,
we
if you
buy?
ever stop advertising with us, Kent, we will.
Oh, we will slander
We
you.
will.
We will destroy your.
Thanks for sponsoring.
Thank you. We love you and appreciate you, Kent.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Kent.
Kent
but
and
don't
K4
ever-
Financial.
RESPs. That's what he specializes in. Bring your kids into it. All right. Thanks. Bye. Got to do trivia.